This game gives Magnus the distinction of the Mozart of chess because he sacrifices his knight, his bishop, and his rook just to checkmate with his queen and the rook. And it's a beautiful tactical masterpiece which shows his deep calculation ability. And he also played it when this match when he was 12 years of age, basically. So this is the Caro-Kann defense, the classical variation of Caro-Kann defense that is being played, and Magnus is playing with the white pieces, and Spike Ernst, who is his opponent, is playing with the black pieces now. So now knight comes to g3, despite of the because of the attack of the bishop here, and the bishop go back to g6, and after that the pawn push of h4 happens, and h6 is played by Spike in order to prevent the pawn from passing further, and Magnus plays his knight to f3, and after that knight to d7 by Spike, and h5 is played by Magnus attacking the bishop, and the bishop retrieves to the h7 square, and after that bishop to d3 by Magnus, forcing the exchange of the bishops there, and the queen takes back the bishop and goes to d3, and e6 is now played by Spike, and bishop goes to f4 by Magnus, and after that knight to f6 by Spike as well, and Magnus immediately castles on the king side, getting ready to launch the attack, and bishop to e7, signifying that Spike is going to uh, castle on the king side, and after the knight jumps to e4, the queen comes to a5, attacking this weak pawn over here, and the king moves to b1, defending that pawn, and after that Spike castles on the king side as well, and immediately Carlsen goes for the exchange of the knight, and the knight takes the knight back, and the knight jumps to e5, which is a very good square for the knight to be in because it's a central square. The knight can jump all around the board in on the central squares when it's in the central squares. So the rook comes to d8, create an extra attack on the queen, and the queen moves back to e2, and c5 is now played by Spike. Now this is an inaccuracy, and it was suggested to play queen to b6 over here, but didn't happen in the game. So knight immediately Carlsen plays this stunning move, knight to g6, attacking the rook. The knight could be taken, so you'll see what happened. So in the game the knight gets taken, but it was preferred that the rook moves here. So the rook to f8 move. After that the knight get exchanged, and the game is still open for black, but didn't happen in the game. The knight is taken by the pawn, and immediately the queen comes in, and Carlsen launches his attack on the Spike, and with a check, and it's a forced move. And after that, this pawn is taken back, and this bishop is hanging. So Carlsen could have gone, and he would have just took this bishop, but he didn't. He didn't take that. He went for the attack right away, and the knight jumps to g8. It allows this the protection of this bishop over here, so you cannot take it back. And Carlsen does his second sacrifice, bishop to h6, and after that this bishop was taken, and then comes the rook sacrifice, and the rook is now taken back with the knight. So you just lost your knight, your bishop, and the rook, and after that this bishop is now taken, and the knight jumps back to f7, preventing the checkmate threat. And because you could just bring your queen here, and it's game over basically, and nothing black can do because all his pieces are stuck here. The rook here will not protect. You cannot bring your rook here as well. So the only possible move was to bring your knight here, and the pawn takes the knight. So you just got back two of your sacrificed pieces, and the king moved to g7. Now Carlsen brings his rook into the game, and the rook goes to d3, and after that Spike tries to defend his king by bringing his rook to d6. So if the check happens, you can just bring your rook and block it. Carlsen is still down by a rook, and after that the check happens at g3, and the rook comes in and block the check. So after Carlsen didn't try to capture the rook right away, so instead he places his queen at e5 and gives the other check, and the king goes and takes that pass pawn as well. So after this the queen comes to f5 and places the check, and now the rook tries to defend the king basically, and that's what the rook move was for basically. But Carlsen finds the checkmate in this position, and basically this is the checkmate on the board. So right now The king is basically blocked with by his own pieces. Both these rook covers two of the exit squares, and the queen covers both these squares, and all the back rank squares are covered by the rook over here. And the queen here is doing nothing, and there is nothing that could be done, because many of the moves, the sacrificial moves, and the spike was forced to take those pieces. Otherwise, it would have resulted in checkmates as well. So, a beautiful tactical masterpiece in which the exchange of pieces results in the victory or the sacrifice of pieces basically results in the victory. Carlsen is still only down by a pawn, and you can also see that if there was one unforced move, the queen could have just come in and create a checkmate, because the king of Carlsen here is basically trapped in its own castle. So he didn't play for any opening moves to for the king to escape. So if there was an unforced move, the queen of spike could have just came in here and created a checkmate. And but most of the time the queen was protecting it, because the queen was on the e line, preventing this check as well. So he was able to keep his king in such an awkward situation as well. So thanks very much for watching a beautiful game by Magnus Carlsen. We'll be back with more such videos.